Hi everybody, this is Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and I just put out a new kit called Joy. There's a regular kit, and then an add-on kit. And so I'm going to get going on that. I'm going to take you on a little field trip here, and then we'll get going. So here we go. Okay, so we're going to get to the part where we do something about the white backgrounds on the pages that we always have to come up with ideas for. And this time I wanted to try something different I hadn't done before. Meanwhile, I experimented on some just plain paper here. So what I did is I mixed up some instant coffee and I put it in a water bottle. I put probably 1/4 of a cup of instant coffee in some hot water and shook it up. And then I put it in the spray bottle, and I'm going to do some, but I wanted to show you the results. This was just like printer paper, thin printer paper, and my stencils, I have different ones, so like here's a couple of them that I use. You've seen me use them with the jelly plate. So I just put these down and then used the spray bottle with the coffee, sprayed them, pulled the template, or what do I call it? This thing off, and then it had coffee all over it. So then I took it and I flipped it over on another piece of paper and rubbed it out. So I got a reverse image like on these two. And I did thin paper, which it goes through to both sides on the thin paper. And then I did cardstock, so I used two different templates. I did one side and let it kind of dry, and then I flipped it over and did the other side. And so here's the reverse of this. So I put this down and sprayed it, and then I flipped it over and rubbed it out and got this on it. And there's one that I sprayed. But I think they came out pretty good. They're interesting. And I wanted this thin paper to put in the journal. I'm going to take it down and see if it will run through my printer, because I gave you a one page that just has lines. And so I'm going to print, hopefully, I'm going to print lines on both sides of this thin paper. And then my other thought was, here's some more. Here's a thin piece. And this was kind of a yellow or a cream colored cardstock. There's some thinner paper. That didn't bleed through as much on that one. And then that one came out really pretty. So then what I did is I took, when you print out your papers, what I wanted to see is if it would work on those, because this is water soluble, or at least mine is. I think it's an inkjet printer. I believe the laser printers are the ones that are waterproof. So if you have an inkjet printer, you don't want it to get wet because it'll just start to run. So I just wanted to see if I could get away with doing it on the reverse side. So I did it, and it got pretty wet. You can see here. And I laid it over there to dry, and it looks okay. It didn't come through and ruin the print. So I'm going to try and now print lines on this, on top of that. So I'm looking to see if there's any kind of smudging or anything. And you know, I think probably even if it did, I don't really see it. If it did, it just probably softened it a little bit, which is okay. I don't think it did anything. I think that's where it stuck to the table when I was drying it. So that gives me something that I'm going to try and print lines on. So that's part of what I'm going to show you today. Okay, so now we'll go and try that and see how that works out. And you'll see whether, if it doesn't work, then we'll know that. And if it does work, then we'll know that you can do that. So let's go see what happens. Okay, so we're on a field trip. This is my printer, and I was just going to show you, this is the ET2720, and I've been talking about it in different places, and that's where you see if you need to add ink. And I have printed hundreds of prints on this, and I'm so impressed with this printer because, you know, for years I used the other kind of printer that, you know, the cheap one from Walmart where you had to keep replacing the ink, and it was like $50 or $40 to get a new cartridge, and then it just didn't print very long. So this is crazy because it's a couple $100, but the ink, then it comes with some ink. It's not completely full when it comes, but it has some ink in it, and that's what I was using. And I've gotten several hundred prints. Now I've already filled the yellow. That was the first one to go. And then printed a bunch more, and then the magenta ran out, so I filled it up. Still haven't had to fill the black or the cyan, but I'm going to fill the black because I noticed that there was some missing areas with the black. So let me pull out. And you can, that's the other good thing, is you can buy whichever one you need to refill. You don't have to have the whole set. And I forget how much it costs, but I don't know, I think it's around $50 to get a whole set of refills, but I don't remember how much it is for the individual one. So here's the black. Let's see if I don't have anything. I'm gonna unscrew the lid with one hand, hopefully, so I can show you this. And so this is what it looks like. And then here's the black. And so I just flip that open, and then this just goes down fills up. You can watch it fill up the line. I hope you can see it. It's like right there. I know the lighting's bad in here. And on the other ones, I didn't take even the whole thing. So I'm just pulling it out. And so there's still ink left in this. And then I just put the lid back on these, and I might go ahead and see if I can use up the yellow and the magenta that I had left, because I just had a little bit of those. And then you just shut the lid. So you just flip the lid down and push it down, it clicks. And that's it. That's how simple it is. And then it will ask you to run a ink something test. And so what I did, it came up and it said time to run an ink level test or something like that. So I'm like, well, what is that? So I just Googled it, and it brought up a link and told me how to do it, and it was like super easy. So I'm going to stop and check see if I can fill these other two up. Okay, so I was able to fill my yellow up, and I still haven't had to fill the cyan up. So I have a full bottle of cyan left because I bought a whole set of ink. So the ones that get used the most, though, from what everybody's saying, are the yellow and the magenta. The yellow is the first one to go. So that's the printer. Now I'm going to try and see if I can get lines to print on the backs of these pages that I showed you. So I'm going to run those through. I'm going to run the thick pages through first. So I'm going to load those in. And then on my computer, and it'll ask you to confirm the paper. Every time you change the different papers, it says confirm. You just hit yes, hit okay on that. Okay, so I've opened the PDF of the main Joy, the main pages, and the very last one, I believe, is the lines. There it is. Okay, so I'm just going to hit print because I've loaded those coffee stained papers in, and we will see what happens. Okay, so it's wanting to know, it's wanting to know about printing it. So I'm gonna, on the dialogue here, what for me, I'm on a Mac, I'm gonna hit, instead of printing all, I just want to hit certain pages. It's 1 through 15. I'm gonna tell it to print page 15, which is the last page. And I'm going to do 1. Let's just see if it works. Oh, it crinkled the edge up. But not too bad. Okay, so I think this is operator error. I didn't put the paper in quite straight, it looks like, but I did get my lines. So let me try again. Let me try it again, see how it does. Didn't like that page either. I wonder if I need to iron them. Maybe I should have ironed them first. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's turning the corners up. Okay, this one looks like it went in better. It didn't make any crazy noises. I have a feeling I need to iron them, so I'm going to take some of these other sheets and try ironing them first. Okay, so that has lines. Now, what I am noticing is they're not perfectly straight across. They're not level, if you can see. I'm not sure that I care. I mean, hey, I've got lines. That's the main thing. So I'm going to go iron my sheets and come back and try it again. Okay, so I ironed it, and this is the heavier cardstock, and it's still just a little crooked, but it did a lot better. It didn't argue with me. So I'm going to try a few more sheets. Okay, so this is the regular paper, the thin paper, and I ironed it too. It went in pretty well without being ironed, but I ironed it just to see what it would do, and it seems to be printing really well. So, and it looks straight. Well, kind of crinkled the end of that. Crinkled the corner up just a little bit, but not too bad. So that looks like it's doing fine. So that's the this regular copy paper. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this paper back through now and print lines on the back side of it. It's the thin copier paper. So when they're done, I'll have lined paper on both sides, hopefully. So we're back at my desk. Here's the aftermath of everything. So I've got those sheets that are thin, that were just the copier paper that I had done the coffee dyeing on, and then I ran them through and I ironed them because they kind of jammed up. So I ironed them, and then I printed the line file on both sides. And you know, you'd think that would be simple, but there's a couple where I ran the same side through twice and got double lines, but I'm going to still use them. It kind of looks like that paper you use in kindergarten, first grade, where they give you the spaces. But so this is how they came out. I'm pretty happy with them. And so I will include these in the journals, 2 or 3 of them, and they'll be the lined pages. So those look like that. And then I had the ones that were the thicker paper, cardstock, where I had done that on both sides. And I didn't do very many of those. A couple of them kind of didn't like going through the copier, and I ironed them. But then after I ironed them, I realized that I really want this thinner paper anyway for the lines. That's just me. So if you happen to want cardstock with lines, I mean, it does work. Just be sure you iron it. So there's a couple of those. And these are the ones that I ended up not putting lines on. And I don't know if you can see this, okay, but I don't know if you can see the shimmer on this, but what happened is I put the coffee spray in with some of the mica spray and kind of mixed it. And so I have this iridescence that just is really pretty. And so I think I need to do that on purpose next time. Add some of that mica spray to the coffee. And so there's different variations, of course. And then, so that is the end of the coffee dyeing saga for now. So I'm getting ready to do the rest of my pages. So what that gave me was, I think, 2 or 3 of the pages that will have the coffee dyeing on the back. And then I have the other pages that I'm going to do some of my gel printing on. And, oh, and here's something else that happened. So a couple of these, I accidentally printed, instead of printing the lines, I printed one of the pages of the journal. And it really looks kind of cool. So, I mean, that's what it looks like if you print one of the digital files over the coffee. This one really, I thought, looked pretty. So, I mean, that might be something you want to do. You want to be sure, though, and do the coffee dyeing first, let it dry, iron it, and then print your digital file over the coffee paper. Don't try to do the coffee staining after the fact, because it'll just mush it all up. Okay, so I am going to leave you today. Thank you for watching this, if you're here with me clear till the end, and I will be back and we'll start on some more of this Joy Journal. Yay! I'll see you next time. Bye.